This is our 8th and last class in this course. I wanted to talk about the goal of meditation. The goal is called samadhi. Samadhi means oneness. That the more you become aware of that light within, the more you become aware that that light is everywhere and spreads out to infinity, and you begin to see that that little light isn't separate from that great light, and so the little light merges in the great light. This is the state of oneness with God that Jesus reached when he could say, I and my Father are one. Now, because this is the goal of meditation, we should from the very start try to live in that consciousness. We should always feel that everything is one. We should feel that we are one with other people. We should make it a practice every day to when we walk, for example, walk quietly and feel your oneness with the world around you. Feel that it's your thoughts when the leaves shake. Feel that it's your energy when the sun shines. Feel that it's your own power that is making your body move, and the power, your own power that you feel in the movement of the wind. Identify, break out of the little limitation of this body and feel your oneness with all life. The more you live that way, the easier it will be also to meditate deeply. The more you live with a sense of oneness, the easier it will be to attain a sense of oneness. Just as the more you live with love, the more easy it will be to attain infinite love. The more you live joyfully in your life, this is a good motto to live by, to be even-minded and cheerful at all times. And the more you live that way, the more you'll automatically become in tune with the infinite. So we've taken it up to the infinite, and we've brought it down to what we do with that infinite consciousness here, right now. Let's come back here and think about how we can use meditation in practical ways also. I don't mean that meditation itself and contact with God isn't the most practical thing in the world, but I'm using the word now in the way that people normally use it. How do you tap superconsciousness in order to solve your problems in life? How do you pray? How can you pray more effectively? All of these things are important. When you meditate deeply and feel some contact with God and feel a touch of that inner peace, that's when you might put it this way, that you've got His ear. That's when you can make prayer more effective. So instead of just constantly just repeating, do your chanting, do your meditation, do your hong sa, make your mind very still, and then when you're deeply aware and you feel some kind of divine response, that's the time to pray. The more you can pray in a state of upliftedness, the more effective your prayer will be. Now, I've talked about how to pray in the sense of praying, believing, praying with full conviction, with the great desire and determination. Loving demands is the way Yogananda used to put it. Loving prayer demands, but not praying like a beggar. Then, when you have the need for a particular answer, then put your mind there and don't say, well, I want an answer. Say, the answer is, I have it. The answer is this. Be solution-oriented. Remember I told you in an earlier class that the conscious mind is problem-oriented. The superconscious mind is solution-oriented. Now, if you approach your problems with the sense of the problem and how difficult it is, you'll find yourself just going in circles. But for every problem, there is a solution. That's a simple law of life. You can't have a problem so great that there isn't a solution, a positive, constructive solution, not suicide. And if you approach your problems, if you approach your situations in life with the absolute expectation, you get calm in meditation and you think solution-oriented. You think, what is the answer? The answer is. If you go into it with that expectation, you'll be very likely to get an answer immediately. If you don't get it, make yourself calm again, think about it more, think more internally again, and then ask for the answer in the same way. You have to direct energy. Energy is a very important part of our lives. And when you can direct energy upward, then you create a magnetism. It's sort of like an electric wire that when the current is very strong, it creates a very strong magnetic field. If the current is weak, it creates a weak field. But when there's a strong determination, then that can generate such a magnetism that it draws to you inspiration, or it draws opportunities, it draws circumstances, people, all of these things. You generate the magnetism to attract into your life. And if you put out the right magnetism, you will attract the right people, you will attract the right circumstances. You create your luck. It isn't something that just happens. Luck isn't the right word. It's something you create by the kind of energy you put out, and of course the kind of energy you've put out in the past. But all of that energy, if it's negative, can be turned to positive. And you can turn a negative flow into a wholly beneficial flow by directing your energy, your mental energy, in a positive way. So, when you pray, pray believing. When you want to use your energy to attract inspiration, then direct it. When you want to send a thought strongly to somebody, you can do that. You can call them. You can tell them something. They'll hear you if you put out a strong enough thought. Or a time that you might be able to reach them more easily is when their minds are somewhat still, in sleep. But I've found, surprisingly, that I've sometimes wished something for somebody, and in their sleep they would dream that I had said that to them. Because in sleep the mind is more receptive. Try it and see whether you can't make that happen. With prayer, as I said, the most effective is when you actually receive a response. Now, how do you receive a response? Well, the sending station is the spiritual eye. This is the seat of concentration, of ecstasy, of willpower. When you will something, again, you knit your eyebrows, you've concentrated, you also will let it be in it. The energy is here. So, it's like a broadcasting station. The heart is like a receiving set. So you call to God, but when you feel His answer, you'll be likely to feel it in the heart. So call to Him, come to me, reveal thyself, reveal thyself. But then listen in the heart. Feel if you don't get some sort of a sudden blanket of peace descending over you. Now there comes also the question of guidance. The heart is it's easier to feel intuition in the heart. You can also feel it here, and reason can be intuitive, but feeling is more likely to be intuitive. Calm feeling is intuition. So, when you're not sure which direction you should take in your life, should I go left, should I go right? Think of the alternatives, and then feel in your heart, how does it feel? Or if you want to associate with somebody, or if you're not sure that somebody who's offered to help you in something is really offering a good thing or not a good thing, mentally visualize his eyes and then consult the feeling in your heart. Your mind may tell you he's fine, he's got a nice smile, he's got a good proposal, lots of positive energy. How does your heart feel? You know, women are often more intuitive than men in this sort of thing. And very often a wife will tell her husband, I don't like that man you've brought into your business. And he'll think, what do you mean? He's got all the experience. Years later, it turns out that he walked away with the company funds. The feeling of the heart, which women often have, is what we all need to develop. And the more we consult that feeling, if there's a certain uneasiness, then at least you owe it to yourself not to leap into the thing. The chances are, when you feel that it's not the right thing. If, on the other hand, there's a harmony here, now you know the mind's capacity to fool itself is practically infinite. And so you have something that in fact isn't good for you, but you want it. And so there's this feeling in the heart, oh boy, oh good, oh I feel such joy. And then you say, well, my feeling in the heart's so joyful, it's got to be good. But if it isn't a calm feeling, don't trust it. That feeling has to be calm. And if then in that calmness there's a rightness to it, good. If, on the other hand, you don't get any feeling, then, and that often happens too, especially when you're very closely involved, it's a lot harder to be intuitive when your own feelings are intimately involved, or your own experience, or your own future is involved, whatever. So, in that case, try it a little bit and see what the result is. If it results in disharmony, I don't mean obstacles, challenges, difficulties, those may be means of making you strong, but if it creates disharmony, especially in your own self, pull back. If you try the other way and it leads toward harmony, it's more likely to be a good thing. You can tell by the results. Another thing to remember is that even if you get a sense of guidance to go, let's say, north, just metaphorically speaking, don't take that as guidance for forever and gallop toward the horizon. It may be that that guidance is only to take you to the next corner, and then you're supposed to go east. So always listen. Don't just presume on whatever guidance you feel, but always be in a listening state. I told you in the earlier classes that we must always be in a watchful state. The other side of it is always be in a listening state. Watch what's going on in the world. Listen to the divine voice within. You will find that just like muscles, just as a muscle can be developed by using it, so the intuition will develop by using it. But particularly the intuition will develop the more you prolong the enjoyment of the peaceful after effects of the techniques. And the more after your meditation you try to live in that peace, enjoying that peace, so that everything that you do from that center of peace. One of the problems on the spiritual path when it relates to the teachings of India, which of course is what I'm giving you, not only a universal thing, of course what I've taught is universal and can apply to any religion, but also I've had this constant orientation toward the Indian. And one of the things that they teach is the importance of a guru. A guru is a word that a lot of people resist. Well, would you try climbing a mountain without a guide? Without somebody who could teach you how to climb mountains? Wouldn't you be afraid of a fall? What about the possibility of a fall spiritually? It may not look like a fall because you don't see it in the same way, but if you lose your happiness, if you lose your inner peace, if you suddenly come down in awareness to a lower state, won't you feel that you've fallen, that you've lost something infinitely precious? Surely that's a much greater fall when you fall into spiritual death than it is merely material, physical death, falling from a mountain, a cliff or something. The help of a guru is much more important than having somebody who can teach you how to climb a mountain or play a piano. How ridiculous is it to presume that a person can get to these subtle heights so unknown by his own efforts, when the pitfalls are so many and so unseen, when the path is so tortuous and you don't know which direction it's going to turn next. That kind of inner guidance is very helpful, very important. And the guru's help is not so much with words and outward guidance, it's more with that influence from within. And so I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm not going to say, look for a guru, accept a guru. That's God will send you whomever He wants to use to help you. But God does do things through instruments. There was that story of the priest who went to visit a farmer and said to the farmer, what a beautiful farm you and God have made here. And the farmer wouldn't buy that. He said, well, Father, you should have seen it when God had it all to Himself. It was a wilderness. God doesn't do these things. He doesn't make this world a garden. He doesn't make things ugly or well. We are the ones who do it. He needs instruments to act in this world. He built this planet. He built this universe through instruments, if we can accept what it says in the book of Genesis when it said, let us make man in our image. Us. Why we instead of I? He uses instruments. And the guru is one such instrument. He's sent to you to help you. Now, as I said, it doesn't have to be through words. It can be through influence. So what I would suggest that you do is use this technique that I taught you just a few minutes ago. Think of some saint that you know, that you love. look at his eyes, particularly if you can get a photograph, like a photograph of Yogananda, or a photograph of, in the Catholic Church, Padre Pio might be a wonderful example. But think of somebody who is particularly holy like that, and concentrate on the photograph and visualize the eyes here, and then call. You will feel his response in your heart. And if you ask guidance in that way to God, of God, but through an instrument, then see if you don't find that that guidance can be very important. I'll tell you the truth. I don't think I'd be here today if I hadn't had that. I know I wouldn't have been. That guidance is everything to me. It guides me now, even though Yogananda left his body a long time ago. That is how God can help you too. Through an enlightened soul. Visualize Jesus here. We don't know what his eyes look like, but call to him here, and you have a real contact with God. Then what does it matter 2,000 years ago? That's history. Jesus is alive now. The masters are alive now, and you want to be alive now. This is how you can reach God. They can help you, but the real effort still has to be yours. What's the best yoga posture? Somebody asked me once, what's the best yoga posture? I said, that which enables you to stand on your own 2 feet. So the help of the Guru is only to help you to stand firm and to walk with your power. And he's there holding your hand, sort of nudging you around. But bit by bit, you become strong enough to where you can take off on your own and find that freedom. Ultimately, his purpose is to make you free in yourself, not to lay anything on you, but to help to unflower that power that is the secret of your own being. God bless you.